This rescued cat completely changed color due to a rare health condition. Did you know that cats are the most popular pet across America? That's right. It seems as though many of us can't help but relax and unwind with our feline friends, and it looks as though there might be a good reason. Not only did one cat once run for the mayor of Mexico City, but Mayor Stubbs was the mayor of Talkeetna, Alaska for 20 years before the feline passed away in 2017. That's not all. It seems as though many of us might have an inner cat, as they can sleep for up to 70% of the day. That sounds about right. Many believe that pet cats have been a part of our lives since way back in 3600 BCE. But one rescued cat was about to blow her owner's mind. It turns out that some cats can totally change color due to a rare health condition. Many of us have enjoyed spending time with pet cats over the years. Sometimes they can grow to become a massive part of our lives, especially as we get to learn all the quirks and fun of their personalities. Who doesn't love to hear their cat running around the house at night? However, it looks as though some of our feline friends have grown to make more of an impact on our lives than we ever believed. While this woman thought she was welcoming a black cat, it wasn't long before she got to sit back and watch as her new friend changed color in front of her very eyes. Nicole Bohm first met her feline friends back in 2016. Unfortunately, it looked as though they needed a helping hand. Nicole discovered two kittens who looked as though they had been abandoned on a dirty farm in Germany. She couldn't walk past and leave them to fend for themselves, so Nicole packed them up and took them back to her house. Many cats often run away to a secluded area to have their kittens. There was every chance this pair may have never been discovered. Nicole soon learned the cats were identical sisters, and she promptly named one of them Ellie. The best bit was the sisters had matching tuxedo coats. It wasn't long before the new additions became a significant part of Nicole's home, and it looked as though she was loving every minute. That was until everything changed in front of her very eyes. Ellie had a black coat with white paws, a white chest, and some white on her nose, and looked just like many other cats all around the world. However, that was all about to be a distant memory. It took just 1 year before Ellie looked like an entirely new cat. But what had happened to her fur? It all started when Nicole noticed a small white patch on her cat's back. The owner took a closer look but had no idea what it could be. It was unlike anything Nicole had ever seen, and she wanted to make sure her cat was safe. Nicole soon decided she wanted to get a second opinion on the sudden change in color, so she booked Ellie in for an appointment with a vet for a checkup. It was only then that Nicole learned the amazing truth behind those few white hairs. She was no longer just a typical cat. In fact, it didn't take long for the vet to diagnose Ellie with vitiligo. This meant the cat could be about to change color entirely. The condition meant the small white spot on Ellie's back could be about to spread over her entire body if the condition spread enough to remove the pigment from all of her fur. It could spread quick enough that Nicole could see her cat change color with every day that passed. Although she had rescued 2 black cats, it looked as though Nicole could be about to enjoy some variety in her home. She had no idea that this could happen, but it didn't take long for the full effects of the vitiligo to show themselves. Vitiligo is a condition that can affect humans as well as many animals. It's believed that around 1 to 2% of people all around the world can develop the condition, with it being just as rare in animals. Anything from giraffes to penguins and cougars to owls can be affected by the condition, including our pets. That's right, there's a chance that our dogs and cats may develop vitiligo. The condition usually develops at a young age and typically starts around the nose, eyes, or mouth before spreading to the paws. This might be all that is affected. However, vitiligo can continue to spread to the rest of the body before owners are left with an almost entirely white pet. As if that wasn't enough, it can sometimes take complete control of your animal in as little as 3 months. Some breeds of dog are more likely to develop the condition than others. It's thought that German Shepherds, Golden Retrievers, Rottweilers, and Dachshunds are just some of the many that are at greater risk. All types of cats also stand a chance of developing vitiligo, but it's still a relatively unknown condition. Nicole was amazed to hear that Ellie was about to undergo such a major change, and had no idea what she would ultimately look like. Believe it or not, but there are many types of vitiligo, with some being caused by stress. However, another reason for the change can be down to the immune system, as it attacks the melanocytes that produce the color in our pet's fur. The immune system can sometimes think they are a foreign body and work to destroy them all in a bid to keep safe. The reality? It's merely removing any color from the fur, and it looked as though this was what was happening to Ellie. There is currently no treatment for vitiligo. Many vets will often test to see if there is any underlying reason their fur is changing color. If there's nothing to worry about, then there is usually no reason to panic if your pet develops the condition. Vitiligo doesn't typically cause any discomfort, meaning most pets go on to live happy and healthy lives. Nicole was careful to watch out for any warning signs of anything sinister, but all she saw was Ellie's fur changing by the day. It wasn't long before Nicole set up a social media page for Ellie so she could document her entire story for the world to see. Not only could she sit back and watch as Ellie totally transformed, but now everyone else could see it too. The black was rapidly disappearing, leaving an entirely new coat in its wake. It didn't take long before some noticeable differences began to emerge. It looked as though Nicole was going to have to get used to looking at an entirely new face. What had all started as one small speck on Eli's body had soon taken over her entire coat. There were now several white patches that appeared over her whole body, but things were about to get even stranger still. Nicole learned the condition is usually hereditary. She sat back and waited for Ellie's sister to start to change color. However, it looked as though she was destined to keep her tuxedo coat instead. It was just Ellie that was causing such a commotion. Nicole is still learning how to cope with Ellie's diagnosis. In fact, during an interview with the Dodo, Nicole admitted that, "I was surprised. I'm still surprised." It took a lot of getting used to, as Nicole never knew the color of the cat that would greet her at the door. However, that didn't stop her from loving her feline friend any less. The best bit? Ellie never let the change in her coat get her down. She still goes about her typical cat life, as it looks as though nothing can stand in her way. It looks as though Ellie has finally stopped changing color, almost 3 years after she was first rescued. Although she was once nearly entirely black, Ellie has now been left with subtle black marks around her eyes, as well as small black tips on her ears. As if that wasn't enough, the cat also has flecks of black fur dotted throughout her new white coat as a reminder of her former self. Now, it almost appears as though she is made from marble instead. Ellie's social media presence has done more than just show off her changing coat. It seems as though it has helped to highlight the condition for many people all around the world. In fact, many have come forward to thank Nicole for spreading awareness. It turns out that not many people have ever seen a cat with vitiligo or knew they could develop the condition. Ellie has opened many people's eyes to the incredible number of things that can be achieved by nature. That's not all. It turns out that Ellie's story has also given hope to many people living with vitiligo. Although the condition is relatively rare, it can soon consume someone's life. Animals like Ellie help to make vitiligo more relatable and approachable. Plus, seeing Ellie with a condition has been able to help many others accept their uniqueness rather than try to hide. Thankfully, Ellie's laid-back attitude and love of life only help to make people feel more comfortable in their own skin. It's been a few years since Nicole first noticed the change and 2 years since Ellie changed color. However, this cat hasn't let anything stand in her way the whole time. It looks as though Ellie may have finally stopped changing color. However, Nicole is still keen to keep uploading snaps of her furry friend as she continues to spread awareness about the condition. Plus, Ellie can now share the spotlight with some other famous four-legged friends living with vitiligo. Rowdy the Black Labrador was once one of the leading faces of vitiligo. In fact, he often took to social media to share his story and spread awareness for Vitiligo Awareness Month in June. Although he was born with all black fur, Rowdy soon started to change. His owner noticed small white marks were forming around his eyes. It wasn't long until they continued to grow until his face was covered by the new addition. It made for quite the talking point. It wasn't long before Rowdy's popularity and internet presence saw him become one of the leading faces of many vitiligo charities. Not only was he helping to get people talking about the condition, but Rowdy was also a mascot for many children. In fact, Rowdy even got to meet several of his fans all living with vitiligo in his years. Tragically, he passed away in 2017. However, it seems as though Rowdy might have passed the baton over to Ellie to continue to get people talking about vitiligo.